All right. Merry Christmas, everyone. John Bonham here, Cape Cod Wet Shaving. How are you? So, time of year's upon us. My favorite time of year for everyone who knows me. And for those who do not, Christmas, hands down, is my favorite time of year. So, starting to deck out the background a little bit. I'm probably going to add more. I'm a little behind in bringing out my Christmas decorations, almost a week. I'm about to hyperventilate. Just been a crazy couple weeks. So, there'll be more stuff thrown up, I'm sure, at some point. But anywho, all right, so another shave, real quick. Coffee of the day, Kenya by Stirling. This one's been taking a while. You don't, excuse me, sorry, I'm getting over something. Not sick, I just my voice might crack a little. Kenya is an espresso blend. It's very strong, so you don't use as much, so the bag usually lasts longer. I used that a couple weeks ago on the shave, I believe. All right, everyone, let's get into it. Today's soap will be Santa's Workshop from Cooper & French. So usually the intro is me talking about what I'm going to be talking about with history. I do have a history shave today, but decided just first Christmas video, I thought I'd have some fun with it. I hope you all like the new beginning as well. I'll just do it for the month of December. But today's topic is going to be this, the Christmas truce in World War I. So this is the holiday release from Phil. How you doing, Phil, at Bricktown Grooming? It's a wonderful scent, absolutely fantastic. Cardamom and cedar, but there's more to it. Smells really, really good. And then the subject matter for the naming of this splash immediately struck a chord because it's one of my favorite things in history, out of many, many things. So I surrounded my shave, and I mentioned that, I think, in my last video, that I'll pick one item and then surround my shave with it. So Christmas Truce, and I will be talking about the Christmas Truce. I will be using Cooper & French Santa's Workshop, one of my favorites. It does come with a balm, not a splash. Cooper & French, as far as I'm aware, does not use a splash. So perfect way to pair it, or perfect reason to pair it with Bricktown. And then for my pre-shave, I'm going to be using Christmas Eve. All right. Oh, and my razor, my 1920s Gillette that I bought from Tobin's Throwbacks. How you doing, Tobin? And I will be using Astra Greens in that. So I'll also be using my Christmas bowl. Got to break that out again. So it just dawned on me, I did not put my pre-shave on. Let me do that real quick. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I very quickly, not very quickly, but I've been moving trying to get this shave done. I meant to do it yesterday, and I was going to upload it today, but that did not happen. It's the way life goes, you know. So Crown and Crane, Cooper & French. For those who don't know, it's a little bit of a harder soap. And I'm using my Christmas brush. I forgot to mention that. But it is synthetic and it is on the softer side. And Cooper & French has a little bit of a harder soap. Not bad. Not as hard as, say, Noble Otter or Grooming Department might be. Hi, Mohammed. Hope you're doing well, man. Awesome guy. Mohammed from Grooming Department. Makes some good soaps. He has one coming out. The rose one from, yeah, I'm all over the road, see? Exclusive at the Razor Company, which is rose, and an exclusive for West Coast Shaving, which is also rose, but a different one. And he and I DM'd each other, and he was telling me about it, how one's actually way different than the other. So gotta try those out. But Cooper & French, Santa's Workshop, is very cherry, very tobacco-y. It smells exactly how you would think Santa's Workshop would smell. Just sweet and candy-like. Again, with tobacco, because I'm sure Santa's sitting there smoking his pipe. Let me get this lather, because synthetic, so the bristles are a little softer. I was thinking about blooming it, and I decided not to. But let me do my usual thing. Put it on a little thin, and then I'll thicken it up as I go. But Cooper and French, I don't see them posted as often as I would like. They're based out of Minnesota. Had to. And I don't know them very well. The artisan, I don't even really know their name off the top of my head. But I have talked to them a couple of times. And they seem very nice. Answered my questions. So, go ahead and thicken that up. There we go. So this Christmas brush is one actually from 2019. I went looking for one, I think in like August or September. Actually, I think it was September, in anticipation for Christmas, because last year it always bothered me that I didn't have a Christmas brush. I had a green brush and I had a red brush, I believe. But I didn't have one that was both. And then I stumbled across this one that is red and green and white, which I personally think, and gold, are the major colors of Christmas. So, thrilled to have it. And it just, without too much politics, it has a name on it that I wish wasn't there. Not that I dislike the person, I just think it takes away from the aesthetic of the brush. But, oh well. Alrighty. There we go. So this razor I haven't used in a while. It's aggressive. So this is the same Aster Green that I used for the Coppercont, excuse me. First impression. So it's the second use for that Aster Green. Let's get to shaving. All right, here we go, first pass. All right, so the Christmas Truce was a series of unofficial ceasefires along the Western Front during the First World War in December of 1914. So, for those who are unaware, World War I lasted from 1914 to 1918. So this happened right at the beginning of the war. And here's a photograph of some soldiers in the trench, hanging out. That's what it looked like. So these trenches were, on average, 3 feet wide by 3 to 4 feet deep. A good deal of them were a lot deeper than that. So, you know, most of them were, not most of them, a lot of them were actually like 6 feet deep, depending on the terrain and time of year where it was dug, all that stuff. On Christmas Eve, men of the British Expeditionary Force heard German troops in the trenches opposite them singing carols and songs. So they're just laying there. Now, during World War I, you had trenches that were close enough together that opposing forces would actually burrow under the ground and dig tunnels to go underneath the enemy's trench, and they would actually listen to them and spy on them. That's how close these trenches were together. So they would shout insults at each other. Every now and then there'd be occasional bullet whizzing overhead, but that was really it. A lot of it was just laying there waiting for orders and waiting for the opposite, the opposing side to make their move. So imagine laying there waiting on this, and all of a sudden you hear gallivanting and singing. If anything, that would make me just really have pangs for wanting to be home, especially for the holidays. Now keep in mind, I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. All right, so they saw lanterns. The British soldiers looked over, they saw lanterns, small fir trees set up along the trenches, and the two sides began shouting towards one another, okay? Now here is a picture of a German soldier, I'm pretty sure it was a German soldier, holding up a Christmas tree. One of the fir trees. It wasn't even necessarily a tree. They would pull up saplings, or they would even get a tree and lop off branches and use that as makeshift Christmas trees. But they lined the trenches. They were decorating literally the lips and the edges of these trenches. So this was around 5 to 6 months after hostilities had begun. It was generally believed at the war's beginning, that's where I was saying I was going to get ahead of myself, that the fighting would not last very long. They thought it'd be over, and they certainly thought it would be over before the Christmas holidays. So they believed the war's beginning, that it would be over quickly, before the holidays especially. So a full week leading to December 25th, okay? So starting around the 15th, 17th, 18th, somewhere around there, December. French, German, and British soldiers had begun to cross the trenches. Okay, they would go into no man's land. So the area between the trenches was known as no man's land. Think the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. Literally that on a smaller scale. All right, they started... they begun to cross the trenches to exchange seasonal greetings and talk with one another. This is a good photo here. It is a cartoon, but it's something, there's a reason this survived history for so long. And it was so widespread and talked about that they made cartoons about it. But this is a good drawing. This did, there's no photographs taken. Photographs were not what they are today, obviously, back then. So a lot of it was drawings. That's a good one. So men from all sides ventured into no man's land on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day to exchange food, gifts, and souvenirs. And many of them took photos. Kind of foot in my mouth, it seems, when I said that photos weren't what they were. But they did have photographers at the time for propaganda purposes. And they would have photos of this taken. Now, this was not one isolated area. This actually happened. It was unofficial, but it happened in a lot of different areas during the war. A lot of different locations, different sides, different people, all that. In some places, it didn't happen at all. There was actually some places on Christmas Day, there was fighting and there were deaths on Christmas Day attributed to World War I. So this was very much a yin and yang kind of thing. It happened or it didn't. One second, let me get some more lather going here. Men from all sides ventured in no man's land. Photo, sorry. There's another drawing I liked a lot. Now this, I think, was artwork based on a real event because there's a lot of detail going in there. All these guys joking around wearing mistletoe. I believe that this was based off of a story brought back from one of the soldiers, was that this had occurred. Now there's a person sitting there taking a photo in this drawing, but I could not find an actual photo of this. So the photo might exist, but I don't think so because I couldn't find it. And I made sure I did a lot of research, and I found so many photos of this event, which made me happy. But couldn't find a photo of the actual mistletoe event. So there were joint burial ceremonies and prisoner swaps. It's a big one. And several instances of carol singing. So they had prisoners, POWs, and just simply because of the holiday, and they were getting along and talking, and there was peace in that moment, they thought, you know what, might as well give you back your prisoners so they can enjoy the festivities as well. Because World War I had some of the worst atrocities as well, not just World War II. Let's not forget the gas. Gassing was so bad during World War I, effective, but so bad, that even Adolf Hitler, and all the horrible things that he did in World War II, even he refused to use gas on the battlefield. Because he himself was gassed during World War I. So even he was like, that's too much. But here you got this wonderful thing that also occurred that definitely wouldn't have happened during World War II. So it's kind of interesting. So here's one of the most iconic photographs right here. All right. This is probably one of, if not the most famous, if not the famous photograph of this occurrence. Men from both sides played games of football. All right. This would become known as one of the most memorable instances of the Christmas truce. That's one of many photos. There's lots of photos of them playing football together. Many officers, see, this is interesting. Many officers were unhappy with this. Now, you would think you would see these sides, you know, their men aren't dying, they're getting along. They're fraternizing with the enemy, technically. Just got a text message from my 16-year-old who's supposed to be, or better be in school right now. He is. He's a good kid. Sorry to get off topic real quick, but I can't imagine how I would have been if I had a cell phone in school. I think it's better not to. You're in that building closed off for a reason. It also bothers me that kids have information instantly. When I was growing up, if you had a question, you either had to find someone who might know the answer or go to a library and learn it yourself. And don't get me started on the Dewey Decimal System. I was fortunate enough to learn about that, even when it was on its way phasing out. Just like my uncle teaching me to drive on a manual transmission. Because he said if you can learn to drive a manual, you'll be fine driving an automatic. There's a tip, kids. I'm terrible at driving a manual. I love doing it, but actually I'm not terrible, just getting going. Oh, you know, half the time I'll stall it out at a red light. Anyway, sorry. All right, so I'm going to pause to talk about the soap. So Cooper and French, again, I don't see them as widespread as I'd like to. They actually have a very large selection of soaps. And I always mean to try it. Their other stuff. And I just keep forgetting to. There's so much out there. And I'm just so involved with trying other people's stuff. And whoop, under the chin. Did you see that? I want red for Christmas, but not that red. It's bound to happen though. This is a very aggressive razor. I found out that these razors, the blades back in those days, the 20s, were very thick compared to the ones now. And so the cap and everything was meant for thicker blades. So I think there's a lot more play on the thinner blades, so they move. And it's easier, plus it's an open comb, obviously, so you're more liable to nick yourself. I almost always, every time, nick myself with that razor. And I almost always nick myself in that spot under my chin, so it is what it is. I did not write the scent profiles. I should have. Like I said, I was in a rush to try to get this done. So I got a lot going on after this is finished. So, but it is a wonderful, hopefully it's on the, no it's not. Small batch, Cooper French, limited release. Yeah, this is from last year too. 2021. Wonderful soap. But if you like tobacco, if you like kind of a cherry, to me it's a barbershop. My own personal opinion, for people face palming, hopefully not. To me it reminds me of a barbershop with Christmas elements to it. Wow, I really got myself there. Very, very wonderful scent. I love it a lot. All right, let me rinse this off. Be right back. Alrighty. Post shave is good. Not terrible. Not at all. So I did forget to mention, this is a tallow-based soap. It has potassium tallowate in it. But it's distilled water, potassium stearate, cocoa oil, cocos nucifera oil, sodium stearate, glycerin, a bunch of good stuff in it. All right. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. So after 1914, the high commands on both sides tried to prevent similar truces from happening again. Remember, the officers did not like it. Indeed, they would not occur on such a large scale again, unfortunately. But they did not stop completely. So there were some pockets where every year, all the way up to war's end, where they would still try to do this truce. But the officers, let's see, the officers didn't like it. They thought it would hurt the will for them to fight, is if they got to know and partied with the enemy, basically, which is, I can understand that. Got myself pretty good there. So one lesser known fact about this occurrence is what is known as the open Christmas letter. Like, I didn't know about this at all. I found this and I went off and studied this a little bit. And I was about to start writing down stuff about this, but I mean, that's its own thing, really. So I will just, this one little snippet. The open Christmas letter was a public message for peace signed by 101 British suffragettes. All right? Suffragettes. Suffragettes, not suffragettes. Pardon me. So British suffragettes, which were female activists. They were married women. They were activists, feminists, all that at the time. And they made this letter. They compiled it. It was meant for and addressed to the women of Germany and Austria. So this is the front page of the letter. It was 3 pages, I believe. And it was signed by 101 women. That's why they say it was 101 women. So it was all signed. And that's it. That was actually sent. And the women actually of Austria actually read it. And it meant a lot to them. So it's a pretty interesting story. So here's an interesting thing. So I talked about Charles de Gaulle before. Charles de Gaulle in World War II was the displaced leader of France. He continued resisting. He was exiled. He fled to Britain. All right, during World War II, and continued to run the resistance against the Nazis occupying France during World War II. Charles de Gaulle. And then he became president of France until the 60s, if I remember correctly. I might be way wrong here. Sorry if I am. Oh, it smells good. Damn, Phil. So Charles de Gaulle, lieutenant at the time, remarked on December 7th about the lamentable, quotes used, this is what he said, the lamentable desire of French infantrymen to leave the enemy in peace. So he was one of the many officers that disapproved of the fraternization of the soldiers during the holidays. The total number of men involved in the Christmas truce are believed to be roughly 100,000 men. So it was a lot of people that were involved in this. 100,000. This is my favorite part. This is the image that pops into my head when I think of this. I could not find a picture of the tree itself. I know I've seen one. I read about this. The first time I read about the Christmas truce was in a book. And I would have sworn there was a photo of a tree, but in retrospect, it might have just been artwork of one, because I couldn't find it online. And this is back years ago when I was late teens, early 20s. So this is before the internet, so I don't think it was even on the internet. So anyway, a Christmas tree was reported to have been decorated by both sides in one instance. Soldiers used bits of rope and soup tin lids and whatever else they had on hand as ornamentation, as ornaments for this tree. So here is one photo of soldiers with one of the Christmas trees. Pretty cool. The guy with the cane, I think, might be an officer. I don't know. I don't know the significance of the cane. A lot of it I know was decorative. So, the Christmas truce's legacy should not be forgotten. It has been remembered as evidence of mutual respect and humanity amidst the horrors of war. Couldn't say it better myself. So it's a very rare thing. Really not seen before, and I don't really think has been seen since. You'll have these uneasy moments of ceasefire and all that stuff in war. Even in World War I, where both sides would just stop, let them gather their dead, do what they had to do, and then that would be it. That was as far as it went. This one shattered that mold. So, okay, so real quick, the namesake of the video. I'd be loath if I did not mention it. Cardamom and Cedar, Christmas Truce. I've seen it out there. A lot of people got it. It sold out quickly too, I believe. Rightfully so. So there's more to it. Phil had said, there's some clove in it, definitely. Phil had said that he tried to go a different direction. He didn't add pine or any of that stuff. So I think he did a wonderful job. I think that was a great idea too, man, because it's just that much easier to pair it with stuff. Like with me, I think that was a perfect pairing because the sweetness of this soap and the balm and all that. Didn't check that enough. It complements well with ingredients that are in other things that are not in your splash. So, well done, Phil. There we go. Much better. All right. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. This is a wonderful topic. I was actually excited to do this one. I'm going to be doing some other Christmas ones. I have one that I want to do that has nothing to do with Christmas, but I've been wanting to do it for a while, so I might squeeze that in. But I am going to outwardly look for Christmas stories, because Halloween I did scary ones. Why not? Oh, getting hair in my... I think I need a haircut, guys. Like right at the end of summer, I just stopped caring. Grew the mustache, grew the beard, grew the hair. Whatever. Anywho, all right, that'll do it. 26, not bad. Hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you for all the support I've gotten. I've been getting some followers lately as well. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Yeah, as long as you guys keep loving it and keep commenting and keep watching them, I'll keep doing them. I really enjoy it. So thank you very much again. Can't quit saying it. Hope you enjoyed this one. It was a very good one. Kind of close, near and dear one to me. And until next time, I will hopefully have some more decorations in the background and all that stuff. Till then, Merry Christmas and be safe. Enjoy and pray for snow. Can't wait for the snow. Hopefully. All right. Take it easy, guys. Merry Christmas. Till next time.